What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Talk Punch, the place where we talk about all that nerdy stuff that you love talking about. Thanks so much for joining us. While you're here, make sure you go ahead and hit the like, subscribe buttons, as well as that notification bell so that you will be notified whenever a new episode comes out every Wednesday at noon to see what we're talking about. Kind of like this week's topic, we're talking Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I am Brody Hanson, joined as always by Charlie Hickman. Charlie Hickman, how things going, brother?
Brody, I can't get past how short your beard is. It's freaking me out.
I got it trimmed. I went to a nice hip barber where they sell
oh my gosh,
whiskey, and they all wear suits. It's hip, man. It's cool.
All right, now I don't want to. Does it come with like a lid? Like, if I'm in a bar, like place where like loose hairs are flying everywhere, the last thing I want is like a big open glass of beverage. I got a nice whiskey here and beard hair all over this, like the top. You're like,
well, I didn't.
This
I
great
didn't
whiskey. It's great.
I didn't get one.
Well, if it comes in a sippy cup, I'm in. Like a sippy cup of whiskey while I get my beard trimmed here. Like I'm gonna try not to be distracted by this while we talk about the show tonight. But I'm telling you, every time I look at you, I don't know, freaks me out a little bit.
Well, I wanted to get it trimmed because I was so proud of my shirt selection. Because I have the Millennium Falcon with the red, white, and blue.
Oh, Come on. That's very relevant, Brody. I mean, it's not like you got Falcon as Captain America on your shirt, though. Oh, my goodness. Bam! I know. Look at this bad boy right here.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
All right. Yeah, anyone can bring you content. We bring you content and T-shirts.
Yes, we do.
To match.
Yes, we do.
All right. Should we get into it?
Yeah. Let's do it. So Falcon and Winter Soldier just wrapped up on Friday. This was a short one. This was only 6 episodes.
It was a short one.
Now I watch these weekly. Charlie, you binge watch these. So
binged them.
I bet you were happy that there were only 6 episodes, huh? This was an easy watch for you?
It was an easy watch. I will talk about it in a minute here, but it could have been longer.
Oh, okay. All right.
Could have been longer.
All right. So this is...
But it'd have to be different. It would have to be different to be longer. We'll talk about it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's kind of get right into just kind of reactions to it. What was your overall reaction to this mini series?
Yeah, this mini series.
It wasn't a mini.
I really enjoyed it,
series.
And I think that WandaVision and now the Falcon Winter Soldier, I think, were both very strong entries into the television format. I'm really liking this concept. I think that Disney hasn't fully embraced the medium yet, the television medium, and they are still kind of like for instance in Falcon Winter Soldier, like every episode had like a big battle scene, like it was like these trying to do like little mini movies, and there's really only like 2 episodes out of the 6 where we get like a lot of them together.
Sure. And
I could have done with a lot more of that. We could have probably taken a little bit more time developing some characters and telling some stories. But for what it was, I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to talk about it tonight. What about you?
Yeah, I liked it. I think there were some things that I think could have been a little better. I think there were some things that were just kind of out of their control. COVID kind of threw a wrench in the production of this. At least from what I've read, is that because this was supposed to be the big entry point. This was going to be the first thing out.
Right.
And mid-production, they have this subplot or a pretty big plot with the flag smashers and like a biological weapon. And so you see kind of hints, at some points they're talking about medicine, and you see people that are sick, and then like all that stuff is kind of swept under the rug and it's not mentioned again. Right. And so, you can see that some things were kind of disjointed. I wasn't crazy about everything, but there was a lot that I did like. This had a much more cinematic feel than like WandaVision. And I think that was a very intentional thing because WandaVision was like a sitcom type thing. But yeah, this one did feel very MCU.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I agree. I think it could have been, we could have done with another 2 or 3 episodes probably.
Yeah, like you could have fleshed out the storyline of the Flag Smashers a little bit more. We could have learned a little bit more about Sharon's character, even a little bit more backstory. on Walker, and just more of this, like more of the two of them, because I think they had great chemistry, and I really would have loved to have seen a little bit more of that play out on screen. Sure. But you know what? I maybe in the future, but I love that this wasn't shoehorned into one movie and then put out there. I think it was really cool. The story that they told in this, I think this format was beautiful for it, and it's setting up like a really exciting Cap 4 that I'm like super pumped for. And I will say this about both WandaVision and this show, because look, they're imperfect. Everything is imperfect, folks out there. If you're looking for a perfect show or a perfect movie, you're not going to find it. And if you're trying to defend something as perfection, you got your blinders on. And the show does actually a pretty good job of really throwing that at the characters and then at the audience about this country that we love. It is completely imperfect, and recognizing the imperfections and then deciding what to do, like understanding the whys and what to do. But I digress. One thing that I love that these shows have done is they've added value to past movies and to future movies. Like, I finished this, I'm like, I want to go watch Captain America Winter Soldier again. Sure. I want to go see that again. Like, and it's going to add more depth and meaning to that. And same thing with Age of Ultron, I guess. I don't know. I'll watch it again. But it's cool to like when I finish these shows, I'm like, I kind of want to like go watch those old movies. Yeah. And I'm really excited for the new stuff too. So
sure. I think that this one especially, like, I agree in that, like, I really want to go watch Civil War again, because that had so much of like all this. This felt like a really big sequel to Civil War, because we got Zemo and we got Bucky and Sam and like all this stuff, and so Sharon Carter, but
Sharon Carter, SC.
So what were some highlights for you for this season?
So highlights, because we're gonna talk. We're gonna do highlights and then lowlights. Is that what we're doing?
Sure.
Okay. So highlights first. I like the chemistry here a lot. Yeah. And I like both of the leads. I think Anthony Mackie is going to just be fantastic as Cap. I thought they did a really good job of like showing the conflict and struggle that he has as a black man in America, with everything like the climate that's around right now. And I'm glad that they didn't shy away from that they kind of just went all in that. I really, really loved the character of Isaiah Bradley, and kind of just like, unlike my feelings of Clint and his family when they were like shoehorning that into the Avengers and stalling the action, and we're on a farm and it's like and there's no story being told. Like, here we get to see some actual real depth in the story that the family's being told, and very relatable. So I thought I really liked that a lot. It had like a Lethal Weapon kind of vibe to it, and then they bring the Joe Pesci character in there with the Zemo, and it's like all of a sudden it's Lethal Weapon 3, and so there was some good laughs. Like, the action I thought was outstanding. All right, I know it's Kurt Russell's son, but does Wyatt Russell ever, when he has the mask on, did you ever think, is that Randy Quaid's son? Like a little bit like Randy Quaid's son?
No, I never thought that. Never.
Google side by side, go do an image search for Randy Quaid, and then imagine him in the Captain America mask. Anyway, but there were some surprises along the season, and then there were some things that I think we'll talk about in a minute that maybe weren't as exciting or great. But definitely the highlight was the leads, and I thought the overall tone and the message that was delivered, and the way that they constructed that, I thought was really great. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think the chemistry between Bucky and Sam was great. I loved like the little montages of like with them working on the boat together was great. Them just like
I tell you, when someone's gonna get paint on them from the other person, they're gonna paint them. I wanted give me the full experience here.
And so they were just fun to watch, when they're just razzing each other. They're walking down the street just razzing each other, just nonstop. And so that was super fun. I really liked that this just continued to open up the world of the MCU, where we get Madripoor, like ever so briefly. We didn't spend a whole lot of time there, but now we know that there's this lawless city in Southeast Asia or wherever it was, just like that exists, and there's all this weird stuff.
It's just
and there's
there.
Assassins, and that's just something that's there. What was the other? I was just thinking about it. I don't know, but it just continued to open up this MCU world, and so that gets me, excited. We got even like this did have, callbacks to Age of Ultron. We got like the Sokovia, mentions and things like that. That was really cool. Is because that was such a big deal in Age of Ultron of like, oh my goodness, this city like was thrust up into the air and then slammed back down, and then they talked about the Sokovia Accords and things like that, but like what happened to the city? And now there's memorials and stuff like that. And so just like fleshing some of this stuff out, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I think this sets up, like, of all the things that Marvel has done, this might be the most conversational. Like, just like my wife and I talking through, like, this is like real stuff. Like they're dealing with like real life things that we're dealing with right now. And so it was really neat to sit down of an episode. We're not like, we don't get to weigh the decisions of like, should we lift the city in the air or not? Or, should we defend the Earth against aliens? Like we can talk about the movie, but very few things that have happened in the MCU. I'm like, oh man, that really speaks to me. Like this one time when I got abducted by a spaceship and then I was like in space, and man, that was like really like that really hit home. Like this felt really like the most grounded story.
Sure.
And so it was like really cool. Like whether just talking about the different, arguments they're having about like, can you have super soldiers without inherently having supremacy? Like, can you do that? Can you start a revolution with blood and actually change things? Or are you just making things different? Like, so like, there's a lot of like just, the race in America. There's just so many like interesting topics that you can just sit and like, let's have conversations about. And I thought that's really cool. Like, that's a really neat, and obviously he's not a super soldier. I think Amy asked me like 3 times, like, she's like, so he's just like a guy? There's just like a guy, like he's just a guy with a shield, like, and it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. Like, he's a guy, So being a normal hero, which I think is actually really cool, like getting away from some of like the, the gods among men stuff.
Sure. Okay, how about some misses for you? What?
Okay, so when I was thinking about this, and it reminded me of my high school drama class. My high school drama teacher was, he's a little, we cared for him in doses. And we were doing like these like improv sketches, and the group before us, like he was just like being real hard on them because they didn't establish the scene enough. And he's like, look, in a scene, I want to know who you are, what you're doing, what your motivation is, and where you're going, and things like that. And he's like, okay, and so this is your scene. You guys are friends. You're in a rowboat, and you're crossing over to go to the other side of an island. And so we sit down on stage, we start pantomiming, and I'm like, I'm sure glad us 3 friends are together here in this rowboat going across the water to get to the other side of this island. And just kind of being a jackass, but just like, everything that he said, like word for word, and it just forced it in the scene. And I kind of feel like they did that in the beginning of this Bucky story, like really trying to force like, oh man, there's consequences to his actions. And he's like, it's sad that my son is dead, but what's even worse than a dead son is not knowing who killed him. And then he goes on a date with a girl who's like, yeah, it's pretty bad. Like, I'm glad you're hanging out with this guy, but he's really upset about not knowing who killed him.
Yeah.
Like, and then the line of like there's no word for someone who loses a kid, which it's a great line. It was a great line in 6 Feet Under when I heard it the first time. It was an interesting line in Grimm when I heard it for the second time. And now it's just kind of recycled here in this. It just felt like they're really trying hard to make Bucky feel bad by kind of like, just, we're in a rowboat, we're going to the other side of the water. It was just very like everything she was saying on the date was like, if you were in therapy and you were the one who killed him, you probably should tell him, which, by the way, no, he should not. Like, what are we talking? Like, imagine losing a kid. It'd be horrific. Yeah. And then imagine someone befriends you. And then imagine, like, however many months later, they're like, oh, and by the way, I'm the one who killed him. Have a nice day. And then they show him, like, drinking tea in the shop. Like, I'm so happy. He's the one who killed him. My new friend. Like, I mean, what are we... Like, he could have just said, hey, I got some information from the government. He was killed by an evil agent, Winter Soldier. Terrible. What a tragedy. And then moved on with it. Everyone moves on with their lives as best they can. But no, I'm the one who killed him. in your face, and I fake friended you. Yeah, grief. Like it was just like that whole plot was just like, come on.
It
But
didn't last long. Like
it didn't, but it was
him with
irritating.
the
In a
old man.
6-episode arc, they could have done that so much more subtly, or spread it over some things. Like he could have just been having bad dreams for all. I mean, like we get it. He killed a lot of people, and he didn't know he was killing. He didn't mean to. Like we get it. He's sad. He's brooding. Look how mopey he is. We get it. He's emo soldier. We get it. I didn't care for that part. And probably the other thing, look, Marvel, these movies tend to have like a villain problem. If you wanted to point to a weakness, and this certainly didn't. Like, if I took super soldier serum, could I beat up like trained soldiers just because I've got serum? I'm strong, so therefore I am also now great at hand-to-hand combat. I don't know how that works, and some of it just felt like a little underdeveloped and a little like what could have been like a really interesting storyline. Maybe the storyline was just it was better than the sum of its parts. Like the villains weren't that compelling to me as individuals, but I did like the like the way that they were drawn to comparison to the snap, and then now these people getting out. Anyway, the storytelling was interesting more so than like the actual bad guys.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was one of the misses for me, was the Flag Smashers, and I'm sure that a fair amount of that was this whole plot line that had to then be cut, and rearranged, and they had filmed a bunch of stuff, and you can't go and refilm everything, but to me, they were kind of like, okay, like they're there and they're strong and they're fast, and like what? So it's like one world, one. So they don't like borders, but they wanted things to go back to where they were with the snap, and so they're just like, are they just planning on killing like half the world? I don't know. It was all, I never quite like, I didn't have like sympathy for them. I just was like, okay, they're just bad guys right now. That's all that they felt like.
Humanized it a little bit more, but it kind of like, it felt like they were like, it was more like a battle of ideology, which I think is interesting. But like if it doesn't get personified in the right way, like then it's just not as compelling. And I think they could have maybe done a better job of like, making Carly or some of the other, maybe fleshing out some of the other, henchmen, for lack of a better word. I mean, the guy's getting like gutted by Captain America's shield.
Yeah.
And I don't know that. I
have no idea who he
name.
was.
Like,
there was the one
they
guy.
Could have maybe made some of that a little bit more impactful.
There was the one guy who seemed like he was always uncomfortable with the decisions that Carly was making, but I couldn't even tell you that guy's name. I'm like, okay, the guy with the ponytail, like
Davich.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Davich.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that until now. So
hey, you binge it. You gotta keep it fresh.
So they were probably the biggest miss for me was the Flag Smashers.
And look, can I be honest with you?
Absolutely.
Like right now, it's just you and me. No one's watching. Just you and me, bro.
Yep.
I don't really care that much about the villains in these things. I don't. Like, it's important for the plot. Like something like this. Like you have to have a villain. You have to have a plot. But this, if you think about, sometimes like in the DC often gets thrown around like they have these great villains, and I think that people just think of like the iconic Batman villains and kind of lump that around the entirety, and then it's like, okay, well, what are your favorite Aquaman villains? Or people might be a little bit harder to, not you, Brody, not you, but others out there. I don't know that we need like amazing villains when the stories we want to hear are about the heroes, and if we're going to focus more on like the internal struggles and conflicts and really bring that to the forefront of the storytelling, I don't know that like if we had gotten more better bad guy in this, if the rest of the storytelling would have been as compelling. It could have been. They could have pulled it off. Other shows, other movies have certainly pulled it off. But like I think that was a miss, like the flag smashers, but it didn't bother me at all. If that kind of makes sense. Does that make sense? Like
Sure.
I didn't walk away like, oh man, that was dumb. Look, like when you watch Iron Man for the first time, like come on, come on, right? Like the bad guy here, we got Bridges in the suit, like that wasn't super compelling, but I didn't care. It's like give me Tony Stark, like put it in my veins, give it to me. I don't need to overthink the bad guy here. I just give me Robert Downey Jr. all day, please. Like it was fine. Like sure, like in retrospect, you can go back and you can pick it apart and you can say, come on, that wasn't really. What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Yeah. I mean,
if you give me good characters, good storytelling, that's what I want.
I love the villain. Villains are some of my favorite parts.
I know
I love villains. I love villains. I was super excited to see Zemo back, and in all the promotional stuff that he got his mask, and I was super excited. I love Zemo.
You love Zemo. Were you surprised, like at his like arc? I guess we'll talk about him.
Yeah. So let's kind of run through the characters. Okay, they've all.
Let's do it.
That was another thing that I think I struggled with a little bit in this show. There was a lot of people. There was a lot of stuff crammed into 6 episodes. I mean, there were so many characters. And there was a lot of different plot points and a lot of different arcs. And it was a lot for 6 episodes, because I think about all the stuff and I'm like, golly, we must have had like multiple arcs going on every single episode. So
yeah,
that was another thing. But let's walk through the characters. Okay. First off, I think Sam, probably, co-lead, was Falcon. I thought he did great. I liked his arc here. I liked that, we went from Falcon kind of just doing the goodwill, stuff and struggling with, does he keep the shield? Does he not keep the shield? It was given to him by Captain America. What do you do with it? Well, you put it in a museum, and then eventually kind of working back to taking on the mantle of Captain America. Right. I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed seeing that, seeing him, even like his little training montage where he kind of gets more comfortable with all this stuff.
You're the best.
I know it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. They needed more 80s music during the montages. Other than that, it was great.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I liked his arc a lot. It was good. I'm sorry, you were about to say something else. I thought you were done.
Well, no, you touch on your stuff. I have one little negative about Sam.
Okay, well, give us your negative. Go ahead. Give me a chance to defend my boy.
So he gets the Captain America suit at the end. I didn't like the Captain America suit.
What?
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I thought it looked...
What about it? Be specific.
I thought it looked silly. I thought the head thing looked bad. It was like... It was like... It was giving me Captain America from Avengers 1 vibes, and I really didn't like that suit.
The first Avengers
Captain America suit, where they were like, okay, it's gonna be the comic book suit, and it was like, well, no, I don't like it, and then was really happy when Winter Soldier came out and he had like a much better suit, and so this just felt, I don't know, I didn't like it. I'm watching him and I'm like, it should look cool, and I just don't think it does. I didn't like I love the color schemes. I love, like the design of the suit, but just the way that maybe it was the way that it fit him, the way that it kind of went around his neck and stuff like that. I was like, I don't like it. I hope that they get a better suit for the movie. I hope they improve that.
You're a man who is always, and I will say this to your credit or detriment, care deeply about the outfits in these various comic book Avengers.
I do. It's a big deal.
Can we agree that no matter how you feel strongly or passively about this particular outfit, the worst superhero outfit of all times was the nipples on the bat suit, right? Would you put that as the worst movie portrayal of an icon?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think the Batman and Robin suits were probably the worst.
Okay. I didn't know if this was like supplanting that in your mind. All of a sudden now you had a new worst.
No. It's not that bad. I mean,
Okay. All right.
but I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Okay. I wasn't bothered by the costume. And I don't mean to say that to trivialize you. I just didn't. I'll have to look at it again.
The goggles fit weird. The goggles fit really weird. They were like this. They were like really like his eyes were really low on them, and then half the goggles were like his forehead.
So you're saying they went too high? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So you want more of like a this?
The goggles that he normally wears fit him great. Just give him those goggles in a different color, and lose the headpiece. Lose the headpiece.
It's not. I mean, this was made in Wakanda sight unseen. I mean, it wasn't like he went in for a fitting. It's. I mean, they just kind of made it and put it in a box. It's not like. I mean, like the technology advancements they have in Wakanda are amazing, but maybe they haven't mastered goggle technology sight unseen for someone's face frame yet.
You don't think they have just like all his specs where they could make it tailor made to him?
Maybe they did. Maybe they just got the dimensions of the forehead to ocular bone ratio wrong. I don't know. Maybe. I will watch this again, just the ending, just so I can see the suit, and I'm gonna pay because I didn't notice the goggles. I was paying attention to like the plot and the story and the action. So I will go back. I'll freeze frame. I'm looking for this. I want to see how high up the top of the goggles go.
It's like this.
As it keeps getting bigger. All right.
Yeah.
So
like
there's not even a ceiling. It just starts here, and then the goggles go all the way up.
All the way up. All the way up.
All right. Well, that wasn't part of what I had intended to talk about for the character. I do like that he's Uncle Sam and he's Uncle Buck. I do enjoy that we get two very iconic uncles in the story there. Look, I really enjoyed his arc, and I'm really glad that they were able to tell it in this format. I think it would have been really weird to start like Captain America 4 with like a pensive captain, like where he's like, I don't know if I want this, or he's doing it, but he's not really into it. Like it would have just been, one of my big complaints about origin stories in general is that it takes so long for the character to be comfortable. Like we got to waste a whole movie or half a movie with them, like not really knowing what to do with their powers or their suit. And they're trying to figure stuff out. And so instead of seeing cool, like really great, like heroes doing really great things, you're watching people kind of like jump into walls, which was cool in the first Spider-Man, but maybe not as cool in the second or the third. And so it's just like, caring about Batman's parents again. But, so I liked getting the this inner struggle here and getting to flush that out a little bit more. And it's not just about replacing the legacy of Rogers, but like all these other factors that are going into this. I just thought that was really well done. And I think there's some really killer like dialogue moments, and man, that ending scene, like with him and Isaiah, and he takes him to the museum. I was bawling. I was like, oh, I forgive you for having weird goggles. It was.
Watch it.
It was powerful, and I like the end speech a lot. I thought like his just monologue out there in the streets. It reminded me a lot of like comic books, like just. Look, very rarely outside of these kind of podcast interactions do we get to stand up and deliver great monologues in life. And so, I can understand how like maybe in this format, there were people online who were complaining like, he was rambling on and for so long. But like on a page, like in the comics, we get this stuff all the time, right, Brody? Sure. You're a comic book guy. We get these big speeches and it's written there and you read it and you soak it in. I thought that was really great. I thought the message was really great. I thought the analogy that he was using was great. It all worked for me. And so I was really pleased with his character, and it got me revved up. Like I'm excited for Captain America 4. Look, Anthony Mackie's a great actor, and I don't think we really got to know that as much when he was just kind of sidekicking.
He was a side character, yeah.
And he was just kind of, out there. The Phase 4, no one knew how that was going to work, but I love that Marvel's like making diversity a point. I think diversity is so important for survival. The more people that you can include in terms of like building excitement and enthusiasm for whatever it is, that whatever, in this case, the comics and the characters, like bring people into the tent. Everybody, I mean, just seeing the way people are excited and reacting to get a Captain America that looks like them, or to get, we talked about Shang-Chi, to have a superhero that looks like them. I think it's undersold, and someone like me and someone like you can just take that for granted so easily, because it's just been that way for us since we were kids, and I just think it's really neat to see them making a point of emphasis to bring those characters to life for a new generation of fans with just a different tone to the movie. This was really like, I know I mentioned this earlier, but I really like how grounded and kind of like in this era this was. I just thought that was really cool. So anyway, I loved it. Give me some Anthony Mackie. Give me some Uncle Sam in the suit. We'll iron out the goggles later.
New suit.
We'll fix up the costume. But the wings with the cap suit, that's pretty tight, man. That's going to create some fun battles.
And I do love the stuff that they did with the wings. Whenever he used the wings for other things, when he's like anchoring them into the ground to like push him forward,
cool.
That was awesome. When I'm always like, whenever he puts them in front of himself to shield them, I'm always like, that's so cool. I don't know how he controls these things. I don't know if it's a telepathic thing. I don't know if it like goes into his spine like Doc Ock style, where he can control them. I don't know, but it's awesome.
I meant to ask you a question in the good and the bad.
Okay.
Should I do that now, or would you like me to save that to the end?
No, ask me now.
So how does the time travel stuff with Steve Rogers work? So
that's a big
he just decided,
Charlie.
So like nothing changed. Like so his decision to not be Captain America and go back in time and just like grow old with this lady friend didn't change like the kids that the lady had. It didn't change anything.
No, because it started a new branch timeline.
So that's just a different world.
Yep.
And so we'll deal with that different world another time.
Yep.
Okay. That was my assumption, but I just wanted to, because now, I mean, like, so he effectively in that timeline, like wiped out generations of people.
Well, but we also don't know that those kids weren't Steve Rogers' kids.
In this timeline, they aren't. They couldn't be.
I don't know.
All right. I guess we'll talk more about that after the Doctor Strange movie and they start kind of explaining some of this.
Yeah.
I mean, look, never be able to explain it to make actual logic, but maybe it'll get close.
New branch timeline, just like the ancient one described. New branch timeline.
All right. I did not like the way they ended Steve Rogers' story. I did not like Endgame for me. I did not like the ending of Endgame.
Oh, you didn't like Endgame.
I did not.
Let's move on before I start crying.
I didn't say I didn't like Endgame. I just didn't like the way that they ended the movie was great. The action was great, but just the ending. We have to. We just do a whole one of these just on the ending of Endgame.
I know.
See if you can talk me into liking it.
We have a lot.
I did not like the way they ended it for the characters.
We have a lot of Marvel stuff we can talk about.
All right.
All right.
Keep going,
Let's move on to Bucky.
You're off topic.
Yeah, and we're blowing through time here. All right. So Bucky was great. I really liked Bucky. I really like.
Yeah.
He's like a grumpy guy, and I can relate with that, and I enjoy watching that because it's like watching myself. Seeing him like
I can see that.
Just the little things like with the arm, he's got like this super strength, and so when he does stuff, it's just super cool. The stuff with the therapist was interesting. It maybe went on a little long, I think, but it was cool. What else? What else about Bucky? I don't know. I just really enjoy this character. Even when we went to Madripoor, right? And he's like pretending that he's still the Winter Soldier, like just seeing all the stuff that he can do is really neat because that it's not just like, that's not just the brainwashing. Like he's able to do all that stuff. And so like every fight that he's going through, he's like restraining himself because he could kill people like really easily because he was the Winter Soldier. And so like watching all that, I really enjoyed that. And just, yeah, he's a grumpy guy and I relate with that. So.
Yeah. I like Sebastian Stan. I think he's a good actor. it's kind of, it was fun to see him get to do a little bit more range, I guess, like to have a little bit more personality in the role.
Yeah, he got to be
which
like
sometimes
funny.
is a little flat. Yeah, he got to be a little bit more three-dimensional, which I think is one of the great things that television can provide as a medium, is an opportunity to flesh out the characters a little bit more. And I hope they embrace that a little bit more and put a little bit more of that into these. But yeah, I thought their chemistry was great. I like his arc, Sam's arc, a little bit more. Bucky's arc was fine, but it was like he plays a good sidekick. He's always been a good sidekick to the Shield, and just kind of helping prop up the captain. And I assume that probably he'll be doing that in 4.
I think
right?
so.
I mean,
I think he's sticking
that's a
around.
safe assumption.
I don't think he's going anywhere. I mean,
he's going to marry Sam's sister, so
it's true.
Right?
True.
That's got to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't have like a ton to add to that. I mean, whenever he's doing his action sequences, they're fantastic. And when his arm, they just take his arm right off during the mid-fight scene.
Great.
I thought that was great. But yeah.
Okay. Okay. So John Walker / Captain America / U.S. Agent. Now
It's a lot of slashes.
It's a lot of slashes. He was a lot of characters. I found out like after episode 2 or 3 that this was Kurt Russell's son, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's
You didn't
son.
know?
Not right away. No.
You couldn't tell just by looking at him?
Well, and then every time I looked at him, I was like, "Oh my gosh, he looks just like his dad." Like, and in the courtroom scene when he's getting like all his stuff stripped and he starts yelling, I was like, "Oh my gosh, he even sounds just like his dad." Like, I don't know how old he is and how old Kurt Russell was when he played like Snake Plissken, but like they look a lot alike. Like a lot alike.
Well, don't get your hopes up. He's already said he has no interest in replacing his dad in in the role of Snake Plissken.
I read that same thing, and I was like, I guess that makes sense. But this, I think
he's got that Marvel money now. He doesn't need to do anything else.
Yeah, and he's sticking around. This was, I did like that they didn't kill him, like so many villains who come in and they're bad guys and then they die and then they're just gone. I'm glad that he didn't die and that he gets to stick around and we get to see, you know, what is he going to do as U.S. agent and what is he going to be doing with Julia Louis-Dreyfus? You know, like what's the next step for him? Is he going to be the bad guy in the next Captain America movie? Is he going to be the anti-hero who's trying to do good but is doing it in a bad way? You know, like what does this character do from here? I enjoyed this character, you know, going from like the soldier to like becoming Captain America, but seems like he doesn't really want to be Captain America, but then he kind of embraces the Captain America and then you know, and then he just, with all like this pressure, like he just snaps, you know, and I think I really like that shows like just how good Steve Rogers was at being Captain America and gives me hope for Sam as Captain America, you know, because it shows that like it's a tough job and it's a crappy job and you have to like you know, and so to watch him go through this like this up high and then like just sinking down low and like that, the ending of the one episode where he kills the guy with the shield and you're just like, this is bad news. Like, oh my gosh, you know. So I'm excited to see where it goes from here. How about you? What'd you think of?
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad they didn't go like full heel turn in this.
Sure.
Like just to give him a little bit more of that. You know, I think like an honest representation of someone who's probably like a good person that's been put in some like unthinkable situations.
He was helping out of that finale, you know, and doing stuff.
Yeah. And you know, even before he got the Captain America shield, he was saying like he's got medals for like the worst days of his life, and like I'm sure the things that the way that war can just, anyway, the psychology of the character I thought was interesting, and I thought his relationship with Lamar was really cool. I like Lamar, Battlestar. I was kind of bummed that we're not going to get more of that relationship and more of him moving forward. But yeah, I liked it. I liked that he didn't turn into the main villain, and that they kind of kept that a little bit more ambiguous.
Sure.
A little bit of good, a little bit of bad, because it gives a little bit more flexibility. Because I'm really not sure what they're doing with a lot of these characters, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. It doesn't like set it up like, oh, like here's a cliffhanger and we have an obvious like these are things that need to get solved, but it kind of sets it up a little bit more ambiguously, which could be interesting. There's a lot of different directions these characters could go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was cool. I think just the different styles and personalities. Like someone like Steve Rogers, who's out in front and saying like, and like trying to put it all on his own shoulders and just basically carry the load. And then you see someone more like Sam's Captain America, who's like looking in the chopper and she can fly a helicopter. Let's work together.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more like empowering other people to be great around him. And I think that's going to be a neat transition. And you see like when someone who doesn't have the fortitude to kind of carry that. I mean, who could? And you see like it break him. I thought that was really neat and understandable. Like it would break just about anybody to try to do that alone.
Yeah.
And so it's neat to see him not try to do that alone and to take the opposite approach and to really kind of bring other people around him to work together and have that family connection and stuff. I thought that was cool.
Sure. Yeah, I'm really curious to see where that goes, and now that he's U.S. agent, which
he's definitely gonna be a bad guy, right? He's got to be a bad guy.
I don't know, like a bad guy. I don't know if he's going to be a bad guy. I think he's going to be anti-hero guy. Yeah, he's going to be like
anti-hero
like
guy.
Punisher or something. Okay, so we got the return of Sharon Carter, aka the Power Broker. Spoilers.
I wonder. I think I've had that conversation with Amy before. Like, what happened to her? Like, she's gone, right?
Yeah, well, we know that she got snapped, and so she wasn't. Did it say that she was running around with Captain America and Falcon and Black Widow for those 5 years in between Civil War and Infinity War?
I don't think so, because I think they were all welcomed back and she was not, right?
I don't know.
Because they were all back and doing stuff in America.
If that was a thing or if I just made that up. Possible I just made that up.
You just made that up.
I might have.
Because she was building an empire, man.
Well, but she was, because she said that she was doing stuff and then she vanished in the snap and then came back after the snap.
How long after the snap is this?
Well, this would have been...
it's like a year after the snap? WandaVision takes place like,
after people came back from the snap. Yeah, I don't know. I guess this would have. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how far this is after everybody came back from the blip. So, but yeah, so she's just been in Madripoor, just gaining more power. I think that's been interesting. I'm really excited about the Madripoor stuff. That Madripoor, it's got connections to X-Men. It's just, I'm really excited about the options there. And now we have she's kind of a villain, I think. She's talking about, now she's infiltrated the CIA and SHIELD and all this stuff. And so I don't know, like, she's really, what's up?
Well, I was going to answer our question there.
What is the answer?
So Malcolm Spellman, who is the kind of showrunner and head writer, said that it's close enough to the blip or snap or whatever you want to call it, defines every single thing that happened in the series. Basically, I don't know what half the world's population is, maybe 3.5 billion, have been gone for 5 years. They have suddenly reappeared. It's created a global crisis and goes on. So close enough, whatever that means. So it's close enough that it's still very real. So people are speculating 6 months.
So she was
building this, I think, it had to be.
She must have, I guess. But she was gone for 5 years because she got snapped away.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know.
Who knows? We'll find out. more. So that's an end credit scene, right? So just if you're watching what you know how I feel about waiting for the last two episodes to put end credit scenes, but I was ready this time.
Yeah, there was
I
a
don't
couple.
like it.
There was a couple end credit scenes in this series too.
Yeah, just the last two episodes, I think. So.
But I'm excited to see Sharon Carter back. I liked Sharon Carter in Civil War.
Yeah, I like the actress. Emily Van Camp's good.
I was into her and Steve Rogers as an item, and then it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, imagine if he had the guts to just stick it out and be with her and be a man, and not go back in time and annihilate an entire generation of people.
And go to her aunt. Man.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting. It sets up like a whole new person, whether she's good or bad. We have this new kind of behind the scenes person. I almost called her Shadow Broker, but that's a Mass Effect thing. No, what is she now? Power Broker.
Power Broker.
Okay.
Power Shadow Brody is what she is.
Don't confuse me like that. I can't.
She's the broker.
The broker. So, did you have anything you wanted to mention on Sharon Carter?
Like the fight scenes with her, I thought were great, and whether that was partially her, like the ratio of her to stunt double, I don't know, but I thought it was really well done. I like her as an actress, and I thought she's been really underwhelmingly used in the MCU, and this is a good time. Let's bring out like the depths of some of these side characters.
Sure.
Look, this could go either way. I do not care for the double agent thing very much in terms of storytelling. If the next movie starts and we finally get new Captain America and he's like super trusting of this person and leaning on her for help and she's just betraying him left and right, I'm just not going to be super excited about that kind of plot line. But if she's just like a fun, interesting, sometimes good, sometimes bad character with some depth and what was with her like doing the Mission Impossible like mask for like 5 seconds? Like,
oh, that was weird, because then
it was super. She's like, I didn't need it. I don't need it.
Yeah, she's there to sneak in, but then in front of everybody, she takes off her masks and just is walking around the rest of the time, and it's like,
and she's like, oh, I'm fine. I don't need it.
Why'd you
not a big deal.
Why'd you do that? Like,
just to show that it's like it's setting it up. That means in the next. They put that in there. It's got to be for a reason, because it didn't make a lot of sense. That means we're going to start seeing some of that Mission Impossible tech finally make its way into the MCU.
Maybe. So
she's gonna one day she's gonna press the button. It's gonna roll off, and it's gonna be Steve. He's like, "What's up?"
Old Steve or young Steve?
Yeah. Hello, it's me. I've been watching you and keeping track. It sounded like I was trying to be an old Steve Rogers, and I think it turned into like a bad Bill Cosby impression there somehow. But maybe more of a Richard Harris sound would be better. Harry, I've been watching you.
All right. How about the Flag Smashers? Now we touched a little bit kind of on the negatives on Flag Smashers. What do you have any other thoughts on them, or on Carly specifically? She was kind of the main one, kind of the person that you could point out in the group.
Yeah, she was fine. She was in Solo. It's like I know.
She was. She was the leader person.
Yeah, and so she's a fine actress. I will say that I wonder what percentage of villains in American-made movies have British accents.
A lot.
Because we don't trust them Brits. No, I like the idea of like exploring, like they came up with this huge concept of like snap and everyone's gone and the world moved on and then everyone came back. That's an incredible that's like the stuff TV shows are made of. Like they've made shows like this where people disappear, like literally like Leftovers and the 4400 and other shows where like people are gone and then they come back. There's like, this is like a very interesting, but never to the scale. I mean, that scale of that many people disappearing and then reappearing, and the idea of like their houses are vacant and empty and people are just kind of, need help and roaming around, and just kind of like what would the world really look like? And let's take that seriously and explore that. I think is neat. It's a really interesting thought exercise. What would happen if 3.5 billion people disappeared tomorrow? Like, what would we do? And then what would we do in 5 years if they all came back? And so to have that premise, I think that's like, I wish that got explored even more. I guess they could probably continue to use that as like a storytelling mechanism in some of these next few movies and shows. I hope it doesn't like, but now we're good. We revved it back up.
Yeah.
But I think the ideology and the idea of the Flag Smashers is probably more interesting than the actual Flag Smashers. If you had said, what would a group of super soldiers, battling be like? I'd be like, okay, that's kind of cool, but that didn't really seem like what was happening here. I don't know. They were okay.
But they didn't want borders, but they wanted things post split. Was it a borders thing? Was it a blip thing? Like I don't know.
Well, it's a blip. Well, look. Imagine tomorrow, 3.5 billion people are gone.
Yeah.
You can't. So you move because your wife's gone. All your kids are gone.
Yeah.
So you come live with me.
Sure.
And then the people are like refugees, and then everyone comes back, and all of a sudden it's like, and you and I are living in some random person's home, and they're like, "What are you doing in my house?" And we live in and the nations are like, we're all one nation now, but we're all working together, one government. Like, let's just be like one. And then to have that completely removed, and now we're going to go back to segregating everybody across. I mean, look, I think we can all agree in some great utopia that if we were all just one people, and we all just loved each other as like one group without borders, without all these differences, that'd be good, right? Ideally, that would be good. And to have like a taste of that, and then to have that taken away, I can understand like that being like a drive for like a movement. Like, no, we want to go back to that. Now, how realistic a movement like that is once 3.5 billion people have been added back in, maybe not, but that part didn't like stick out to me as like, oh, what do you want, kid? What are you actually asking for? But like, she kind of like went like the stages of her progression of like was escalating pretty quickly and without a lot of like explanation.
More and more extreme and killing hostages and blowing people up.
And like over a longer stretch, if she had really been more of a focal point of the storytelling and rather than just kind of like, we need a bad guy, I think it could have been interesting to explore the psyche of someone who's like genuinely trying to do right by a large number of people, but like also getting seduced by the power of the super soldier serum and this idea of wanting control and dealing with the frustrations of people not listening and having the ability to harm those people. What do you do in that situation? And watching that kind of degrade, like in like terms of her moral compass, that could have been interesting, but it was very accelerated. It's like one episode she's like, well, we're here to help, and then the next episode she's like, well, we'll kill a few, and then the next episode she's like, we'll kill them all. So it's kind of it was a very extreme progression without a lot of like explanation.
Sure.
Manner.
So they were. I think they could have been better, but kind of as I touched, how much of their arc had to be cut because of biological weapons stuff that were made in Madripoor, and stuff that Disney was like, maybe not. Let's cut that, and we'll just make them bad guys.
I can understand. Also, this just from a practical standpoint, you can't really smash a flag. I mean, maybe like the flag rippers, the flag burners.
I mean,
crumplers.
If you made a flag out of glass,
bumpers, maybe.
If you made a glass flag, you could smash it.
You'd have to. So then there are the follow up to the group, the flag makers, who invented glass flags, and then that gave way to the flag smashers.
And they came and just smashed them.
Okay, now I'm all caught up.
There you go.
During the blip, all flags turned to glass, so they wouldn't. The wind wouldn't be a problem.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. Exactly. All right. So last one, Zemo. So we got the return of Baron Zemo after Civil War. I'm a Zemo fan, man. One of my first action figures was Baron Zemo, and so I've always, he had the pink, he had like the, I don't know what animal. It's like the white fur with the black spots going around, which I love that they do that on his coat. I was super excited that he got the mask. He doesn't have the little crown, but that's fine. So I was stoked to see the mask. And when he put that mask on in that one kind of episode where he got to really shine,
right.
I loved like him coming in with the mask and just taking people out and showing how awesome he was as like a fighter and a marksman and things like that. Something that we didn't really get to see in Civil War. He was
Yeah.
he was all like mind games and manipulating people and stuff like that. So it was really cool to see like, oh my goodness, Baron Zemo. Also, he's rich and he's like, oh, I'm a baron and I've got a jet and I've got this old guy who will just kill people. So
Alfred. He's got his own Alfred.
I really enjoyed this. It was very short. He was, they busted him out. They got to Madripoor. He did stuff, and then they just like took him to the raft because it was just like they're in the raft on the last episode. I was like, oh, okay. I would have liked to have gotten more Zemo, but I'm really hopeful that we get more Zemo as we move into more movies and things like that.
Yeah, I was glad they didn't kill him. That he was,
Yeah.
And there was enough loose ends without having him like just like escaping as well. Like they can do whatever they want with him because like it's like a Arkham or death. Nothing is final in the raft. You can just bring him out.
I know. So
he touches his neck and the face comes off and it was Steve Rogers again.
Oh, maybe.
He's not even in jail.
Old Steve Rogers was actually Baron Zemo. So yeah, did you have anything on Zemo? What did you think of him?
It was neat to see some of the action. I thought the chemistry between the three characters when they were doing their various scenes together, I thought was really good. I hearkened it to Lethal Weapon 3, and I stand by that. But yeah, like I was surprised. I didn't know what they were going to do with him. I didn't know if they were going to have him just escape and be loose, or if he was going to, die. If they were going to try to like do some like real strong redemption arc for him. And they really didn't do any of that thing. He had like one agenda, and his agenda was to make sure there were no super soldiers, and then he did it. And so it opens up the door for future. I like the character, I like the actor. Yeah. I didn't have the action figure though.
Oh man, it was an awesome action figure. It's interesting. He went from like a normal jail to then being put in the raft. So it almost seems like he helped the heroes out. You think that he would get like maybe something a little bit better? Instead, he got
the raft.
He got something way worse, dude. He got to like live underwater. The raft is underwater.
It's not like he's drowning. I mean, he got like a TV. He was like watching the news or listening to a radio. I don't remember. He heard the story about the car blowing up with the super soldiers in it, and he smiled and was like, "Oh, because that's my butler."
His old man blew up the stuff.
His Alfred.
Maybe
he has his own personal Alfred.
I don't know. I was like, boy, he was in a regular jail, and now he's stuck on the raft. Maybe it's better conditions. Maybe he gets.
I mean, underwater sounds cool. Let's do that.
Maybe
if I ever go to jail, I'm putting my request in now to have it be underwater.
Can my cell be underwater?
I can breathe. Yeah, I mean, like I'd like to not die underwater because that sounds terrible.
Yeah,
but if I do, I want you to come to my kids 10 years later and tell them it was you who drowned me in that cell. After befriending them.
Will do.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Okay, so those were kind of the main characters. So now let's move on to a little bit of speculation on where things are going. Okay, we've got some other characters we can discuss, what we think their involvement might be, where things might be going. Now that the movies, I'm guessing that the movies are going to pick up this. They announced Captain America. Is it Captain America 4 or is it Captain America and the Winter Soldier?
It's Captain America 4, but I don't know if that's like the official title.
Oh, okay.
That's what I've seen online. Just people calling it Cap 4. I don't know if it has a tagline yet. I don't even know if it's been completely written, but I know that the showrunner who did this is writing it or wrote it.
So this is going to go into a movie. And so we probably won't get a season 2 of this. You think?
I think if you want to give me a season 2, give me a season 2.
I'd love to have.
I'll watch a season 2 of this.
I'd love to have a season.
Even like it could focus. It depends on what they want to do with Captain America 4. If they make it a very like just Sam centric and he's it's all about the captain, and then you save maybe Sharon Carter and the U.S. agent are in a TV show, and then they make like some appearances, and that's like a storyline. And I don't know. They could. That's the thing. Like It's like they could do it or they could not do it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a neat place to be in, because they don't have to make a season 2, so they don't have to force a story that isn't there. But the option is there if like it makes sense to do another little mini run or another series. They have the option and the actors to do it. So like it's kind of a cool, like they can make it more about what story needs to be told and less about, oh well, we got to fill another 6 episodes or whatever. So
Sure.
if there's not another story, there's not another story there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really curious to see. I could see how they would want this to go into big blockbuster movie. But
Yeah.
I do also like the seasons that they're putting together. I think they're doing a really good job.
Yeah. Have you heard rumors, by the way, about like what shows are coming out? So we got Loki, and then what's after?
We've got Loki, and then we've got. Do they have any other shows planned?
That's what I was asking. I came to you, man. That's what you're my fountain of knowledge.
Oh man, because I know we've got movies, because we've got Black Widow and Eternals and Doctor Strange. I don't know if they've announced any other movies, shows. I don't think that they have. Oh, no. We have She-Hulk. That's going to be a show.
Oh, yeah. That'll be fun.
What else was there? Moon Knight is going to be a show. So we do have more coming. Oh, Hawkeye. We're getting a Hawkeye show. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it still?
Yes, it's Renner. Well, it's so we get Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye, training new Hawkeye, which is, what's her name, Charlie? She was in Bumblebee. Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld. Yeah, she's gonna be the up and coming Hawkeye.
Not his daughter. Wasn't Clint's daughter supposed to be taking over the mantle?
No.
Are they going to do a Young Avengers thing?
It kind of seems like they're heading in that direction. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So we do have a number of shows. Hawkeye, She-Hulk, Moon Knight. I think there's more, but I can't remember right now.
Yeah, Haley Steinfeld. Okay. Hawkeye. Yeah.
Definitely. I know they just got done filming the Hawkeye series. I don't think they've started on She-Hulk, and I don't think they've started on Moon Knight. But Moon Knight's going to be Oscar Isaac, so that should be good. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, and I want to watch the What If stuff.
What If? I love What If. Okay. So anyways, speculation on some of this stuff. So we aren't sure if there's going to be a season 2. Could be a movie. Could be a season 2. Probably a movie, I would guess.
It's definitely going to be a Cap. There's going to be a Cap 4 for
a
sure.
Cap 4 movie for sure.
For sure.
Who's all involved with that? We'll see.
We'll see.
We got a couple like side characters coming in that, how do we think they're going to play in? Torres. We got Torres, who in the comics becomes a Falcon. And he was left the Broken Wings. So we could have some Torres Falcon. Maybe.
I think that's going to be great.
We have Isaiah Bradley. Do you think they're going to bring Isaiah Bradley back, or do you think this was the end of that arc?
I think probably it's the end of that arc. But if they do a season 2, maybe he pops in. I would love to see it, but it was such a poignant moment. I'd hate if they bring him back. It better be great, but don't tarnish that beautiful ending with just to bring him back and kill him or something like that. He's like, hey, I'm happy again, and then like, I don't know, and
I'm
then
ready
Hulk
to fight
steps on him or something. Yeah, like he gets shot in the head. Like I don't know. Anyway. I don't like it when they do that, when they just for the emotional impact on other characters kill off like a really great character. Like, I don't know.
I have a really random question about Isaiah Bradley. Is that a real old man?
You mean like the actor?
Yes.
So not like, I mean, he's not a real old man in the sense that
Or is
with
he
the
like,
super soldier serum coursing through his body,
or
he's
is he
aging
like
differently.
a younger actor that they put makeup on him? How old is that actor?
Carl Lumley is he was born in I think 51, 61, 71, 81. You think like 70?
Okay, so he's actually pretty old. Maybe
Yeah,
they
and you may
maybe
recognize him from the TV show Alias, if you ever watched that.
maybe a couple
At least
episodes
that's where
20 years ago.
that show had promise, and then we'll have, if we ever do an episode on TV shows that could have been great, I'm going to put that one on my list because
Okay.
the network. Anyway,
So I don't know.
Godspeed.
I was watching him and I'm like, is he like really an old man, or is he like, or is some of that like aging him up? But I guess he's really old. So
yeah, he's like 70. He's a great actor, and he is just like delivery in this was just chilling. It was so good.
yeah. Yeah, I mean I agree. I can't imagine, it, maybe they bring him back for a cameo as, somebody that Sam can kind of go and talk to
Sure,
or something
yeah,
like that.
that would be great. Like just don't bring him back and kill him. That's my only request.
Sure. Yeah, he doesn't need to like become a superhero or anything like that.
Well, he can be a superhero. That's fine. Like let him go run around. But just don't kill him right away. I just don't. Do you want the lineup? I got all the shows.
Oh, sure.
Okay,
How
the
many
ones
did
we
I
got
miss?
So we got Loki, What
Yep,
If, and
yep.
then Miss Marvel,
Oh, Miss Marvel, that's right.
and then Hawkeye, and then the following are undated: Armor Wars,
Oh, yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
I
Which
knew
will be,
about that one.
I Am Groot,
I don't know what that is.
Ironheart,
Oh, Ironheart,
Oh.
that's right.
MODOK.
MODOK. Oh, I think that's like an animation or something, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Moon Knight, what you got? Secret Invasion. Secret
Oh, that's
Invasion.
right. Secret Invasion.
She-Hulk, and then Silk.
Silk. What
Silk.
is Silk?
Brody, come on. Silk.
Is that like it wouldn't be a Spider-Man character. Silk who? Silk.
Silk, Brody.
I don't know what that is.
don't know
Charlie.
Silk?
I don't know what that is. What is it?
What if I said it like this? Silk. Silk.
I
Silk
don't know.
will follow Cindy Moon, who ended up getting bitten by the same radioactive spider as Peter Parker. What are the odds?
The same spider?
Same spider.
How does
Cindy
Marvel
Moon.
have the rights to that? That sounds like it would fall into the Sony Spider-Man universe.
They struck a big deal, I believe. They got a big
For Silk?
all the Spider-Man stuff. I don't know. It's coming maybe on Amazon,
Wow.
and not on Hulu. I don't know. I don't even know if this is a trustworthy source that I just read this off of to you people out here. So do your research.
That's a Talk Punch exclusive right there.
I'm officially announcing that there will be a show called Silk about a person bit by the exact same spider as Peter Parker. Named
What are
Cindy
the
Moon.
odds of that? My goodness.
Slim
Okay.
to none.
Back to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Next person, Julie Louis-Dreyfus. So Val.
Do I love her? I love her.
Val, what's the full name? Contessa Valentina
Not Allegra.
Allegra. What's the full
Allegro.
name, Charlie?
The full name is Julia Louise Dreyfus.
No, come on, her character.
Or is it? I think it's not Louise. By the way, it's like
It's not
Louis.
Louis.
Not Louise.
It's not
Julia Louis Dreyfus. Louise. It's not
Louise.
Louise Dreyfus.
I've always said Louise
Louise?
Dreyfus.
Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Yeah, Julia Louis Dreyfus, right? Louis Dreyfus.
Really? Okay,
Louise.
well,
I mean, that's like
now
it's
you're
like a-
now you're breaking my brain because I've been saying Julia Louise
Julia-
Dreyfus for my entire life.
Julia Louis Dreyfus. And now you're making me question in my own mind if am I saying it right?
I don't know. I've been saying it this way for forever. Nobody's ever corrected me until now.
By the way, we spent a lot of time talking about pronunciations of names on this. Renault.
Okay, well, while you look
I'm gonna
up
look
how
up the
to
official
pronounce
pronunciation while you keep going.
so we had Val come in and get John Walker as...
It is Louis Dreyfus. Julia Louis Dreyfus?
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
God. So you've been saying it wrong this whole time.
I guess. I don't know if I trust this American pronunciation.
Well, I've been saying it right. That's all that matters.
Maybe I've been saying it that way, and it just sounds weird saying it out loud. Louis.
Luis.
Yeah, Louis Dreyfus. Yeah, Louis. So I've heard now one say Louis, one say Louise.
Oh my goodness.
So all right.
So anyway,
let us know in the comments.
So, how do you say her name? Do you say it Louise or Louis?
I say. Yeah. Oh man, we should definitely look this stuff up ahead of time. I didn't know we'd have a controversy over that.
I don't know.
But yeah, her character.
I said her name in our pre-meeting, and you didn't correct me. You waited until we were recording to correct me.
I never pay attention in the pre-meeting.
It's all in you.
No.
All on you, Charlie.
She's great, by the way, though. Did you ever watch Veep?
No.
She's fantastic. And I would watch her in like really anything, except for the New Adventures of Old Christine, because I didn't watch that, so I can't say I'd watch her in anything. But I'm excited that she's part of the MCU, and I thought like they kept that really well under wraps. I know she came to set like in a cloak. You can look up pictures of her like all hidden and like she's a Sith Lord being snuck onto set.
Yeah. Yeah, so we get her as this character who in the comics is kind of good, bad. I think she was Madam Hydra at one point. I think she's kind of worked with Nick Fury on and off.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. Little love interest.
You know, so she gets John Walker and turns him into U.S. agent. He's now got the black costume, like the comic book costume, because that's what he was in the comic books, was the black with the red and the white. Calls him U.S. agent, and so there is going to be some involvement there. Wherever we see U.S. agent next, we're going to have to see Val. I'm assuming, and so
yeah, I want to see her and Sam Jackson, and I want to see some banter. Give me some steamy banter between those two.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So yeah, so you know if U.S. agent is going to be involved in the next movie, we'll see her as well. And so I'm really curious to see how involved she is with the MCU. Is she going to be a major player throughout multiple movies? Is she going to be more isolated to this U.S. agent character, or is she going to branch out from him? Is she going to kind of establish her own group, maybe? Maybe like a Dark Avengers or something like that. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, like it kind of set it up like with her mysterious business card and kind of coming in towards the end there, like the first few times we see Nick Fury kind of just showing up and creating his team. So yeah, I'm excited that she's part of it, and I think it's going to be fun to see what they do with it.
Yeah. So there's Falcon and Winter Soldier. I enjoyed it. I didn't like his costume in the end. I didn't really like the Flag Smashers. His goggles were way too big. They could have just been like that.
I need to watch that.
They're so big. They're so big, and they don't sit on his head right. I'm telling you, go watch it. I'm right. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Charlie, you have any other thoughts on this before we wrap up?
No, I'm assuming that if you watch this, you've probably seen it. If you haven't watched it and you've watched all of this, there's nothing here that we've talked about, like spoiler-wise, that still wouldn't make it enjoyable to watch if you like the MCU, especially if you like the Captain America side of things.
Sure.
If you liked Winter Soldier and Civil War, this is a show for you to go watch. If you've been hesitant to watch it for whatever reason, do it. And if you don't have a Disney Plus subscription, get it. Tell them that Brody and Charlie and Talk Punch sent you, and we'll get a residual from your membership retroactively in 2035, I believe, is when that start kicking in. So make sure you tell them we sent you. But check it out. I really recommend it, and get excited because Phase 4 is coming, and it's going to be...
Phase 4 is here. It's here, Charlie. We're in it. We're
It's
in
here.
phase 4.
I'm thinking the movie. The movies are coming. It's going to be great. I'm really excited for all the content that's coming. And stay here with us because we'll be bringing you reactions to trailers. We'll be bringing you updates when we get them as to like what projects are being announced. We'll be giving you reviews for shows and movies as they come out. And we'll be doing all your MCU needs. We'll be here at Talk Punch among your other many needs. So please comment below and let Brody know he made a huge mistake trimming his beard. This is like going from full-size Groot to teenage Groot. Not baby Groot, but like teenage Groot. Nobody liked teenage Groot.
It's still, look, there's my chin right there. It is still long.
It's gross.
See?
Grow it out, Brody. I can't even look at you.
I did grow it out. It's been growing out. Look.
Grow it out again.
Look, there it is. Whatever. Look at that. Look at how long it still is.
I don't like your costume. Fix it. Grow that beard. Grow it back. You're still beautiful.
Oh,
you have a beautiful face. But the beard, come on. It'll just take a little getting used to. I apologize. It's wonderful.
It's going to grow again. That's kind of what it does.
And let me know below in the comments if you would drink any kind of open beverage while getting your beard hairs trimmed or your head hairs trimmed. That sounds like such a bad business plan to just be sipping whiskey or any beverage while hair is being just flickered in the air.
I think
if you just set it over to the side.
I think it's really more like while you're sitting in the waiting area. I don't think you actually like take your drinks into the barber chair.
Okay. All right. It's like a speakeasy, and then you go back and you get.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Because I have heard people drink whiskey before and say, "Ooh, that's hairy," but I don't think this is what they meant.
I don't think that's what they mean.
No.
So, all right. Well, make sure you click on the videos below to see something else that YouTube is gonna recommend for you. Look at that cute little Captain Falcon.
Captain Falcon.
I did like the guy that kept calling him Black Falcon. That was funny. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing and thumb up in this. All that stuff. We need it. We're new. We're still figuring all this stuff out. It helps. It all helps. Help us. Help us. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Adios.